All right, he is the VNC's vice chair, David Hogg. He is the Republican congressman from here, Mike Lawler, and she's the political strategist and ABC News contributor, Donna Brazile. I'm the maker of Dumbo. All right. These are from the people. Disney's building its new first theme park in 15 years in Abu Dhabi.
In this clip, Bill Maher sits down with DNC Vice Chair David, Congressman Mike Lawler, and longtime Democrat strategist Donna Brazile. What starts as a casual roundtable turns into a full-blown roast of the establishment, and Donna Brazile gets exposed. David Ho drops the truth bombs, Lawler throws red meat, and Donna, she's doing political gymnastics like it's the 2024 Olympics. Let's watch.
Wow. What does it say that the happiest place on earth is now an oil-rich autocracy?
That's good. I mean, Mickey and Minnie should be available to everybody. What's wrong with that? I'm all about it, making sure that American products, American brands, and everything else, that we're able to be in a global space. And besides, I love Mickey. You know, when I first went to a theme park, I went and got me some dishes. I thought they were real. So I love Mickey.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Are you going to go?
No, I do.
Take me with you.
No,
I'll be your date.
No, I'm just wondering if we're going to have the gay days thing, just like they do in Orlando there in Abu Dhabi. I wonder how that's going to go.
That's not going to.
I think they may skip that.
They'll skip that one.
Okay. What does the panel make of the reaction to Trump suggesting we should reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison? No.
No.
I will say, two of the best movies of all time are Escape from Alcatraz and The Rock. Great movies.
I know, but we shouldn't make policy from watching TV, should we? I mean, it's plain that he was.
Isn't that often what happens?
No. What really? Oh, I mean, okay. And look, is it a big issue? No. First of all, it's probably never going to happen. I also must say, I'm tired of hearing how this is the can't-do country. No, should we open Alcatraz? There's no reason to do it. But I heard the immediate reaction was, it's impossible. It's impossible because it's broken down.
No, it's just stupid.
It's just stupid. Right. But also, it's not impossible.
Right.
If you really wanted to do it, it's not the Manhattan Project.
The bigger issue is not actually opening up Alcatraz. The bigger issue is holding criminals accountable across our country when they're actually breaking the law. And that is something that I think, as a New York representative where crime has gone up significantly, you're down in Washington, D.C., we see it a lot as well. That is the bigger issue and the bigger debate to have about how to deal with actual crime in this country as opposed to reopening Alcatraz.
Well, can I ask you this, Congressman? A lot of the people that are being put in these detention centers, they're run by private prisons. Do you think that private prisons are something that we should have in this country?
Good question.
I don't think that we should be having a system that is incentivized to keep people there. Of course, we need to make sure we're keeping everybody safe, but I don't want to have a system where we literally have a prison industrial complex that is incentivizing keeping people incarcerated. And that costs us.
There's no question you can have reform with respect to that.
Should we have them?
But I don't have a problem with a public-private partnership in terms of actually dealing with the operations of a prison. But the issue to me is actually enforcing the law.
Hold up. Congressman Lawler just completely dodged the private prison question and pivoted straight to enforcing the law. That's not law and order. That's deflection. The prison industrial complex literally funds political campaigns to keep people locked up. And he's acting like it's just about safety. This is the corporate grift no one in Congress wants to admit because they benefit from it.
If you look at a state like New York, where the recidivism rate on people who are being arrested for felonies and then being released under cashless bail, it is over 50%. That's insane. You're putting violent felons back out on the street only to reoffend. Kathy Hochul just fired 2,000 corrections officers, and as a result is now releasing prisoners out onto the streets. That is stupid policy. So, look, we can have a debate, and I, as a member of the state legislature, had no problem with dealing with some of the issues pertaining to for-profit prisons. But at the end of the day, the bigger issue to me is criminals being released back out onto the street to reoffend.
But they're two different issues.
Right.
I don't know why
we're not dealing with it. That's part of the problem.
We're not dealing with a lot of issues.
What really concerns me is we are literally, a lot of these private prison groups are literally funding people's campaigns. and incentivizing keeping these people in prison, which costs us, putting aside the moral side of things, let's leave that aside for now, even though that's super important, just economically, it's costing us billions of dollars. And then they're using that money to help fund the campaigns of the people who refuse to regulate them. And it's a huge problem.
Well, that's true of any industry in America. Where people are investing billions of dollars into campaigns.
But it's just like immigration. We need a comprehensive approach to crime, immigration. How are we going to grow a 21st century economy? How are we going to advance science? And how are we going to be a 21st century superpower when we're making some dumb, stupid moves right now? And Congress, as you said earlier, Congress cannot see it as Article 1 powers. You must provide the checks and balances. And we can't just detain people and open up new prisons without due process and the rule of law. America has standards and values, and we have somehow forgotten that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. What do you think of the speculation that Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego may enter the 2028 presidential race? Would a Latino candidate help bring back a key part of the Democratic base? I mean, I feel like this is the problem Democrats keep making over and over, that it's always more identity politics.
No.
Didn't you have a fight? One of your controversies, wasn't it that you ran against somebody who was Native American and they complained about it? And it sounded to me, now maybe I didn't get all the information, it sounded to me like she just lost to you. But then that wasn't good. And this is the Democratic Party. This is not the Republican.
You know, Bill, we're not a perfect party. We got a lot of shit within us, and we have to clean up our own mess.
Oh, really? Donna finally admits to the Democratic Party is a mess. Then immediately starts defending it like it's grandma's gumbo recipe. You can't say the house is on fire and then start bragging about how great the furniture is. If you're acknowledging corruption and identity politics overload, then do something about it. Don't just romanticize the past while ignoring the rot in the present.
But I tell you one thing, if I had to come back on this earth tomorrow, I would still be a Democrat because of our values. We fight like hell. Sometimes we never make love at night because we fight like hell. But we like stand us, and you're right. We did spend a great part of this last century dealing with, oh, you're black, you're gay, you're a woman. What? God damn it. What? So what?
Are you good at your job? That's what I care about.
Oh, that's all. Fundamentally,
We're in the round. Let's move on.
But fundamentally, Donald Trump made inroads with nearly every single group in the country. And it was primarily driven by issues, by substantive issues on the economy and the border. So I don't think it's a function of let's pick which race or ethnicity or religion or gender. That's not the problem. It is the substance of the issues and what you're going to do to fix it.
So Ruben is a great guy. He will make a wonderful president if he chooses to. He just got elected to the Senate, so maybe he should stay there for a little bit and let a little grass grow underneath
Okay,
him.
but what is the deal on the woman who attacked you because you beat her at that job? Did you beat her fair and square? Was there any fire there?
There was the election that the DNC held, and I was the person that was one of the people that won one of the three positions that they had for the at-large vice
So what
chairs.
was her claim?
Part of the claim, so not to bore people, but to get into the bureaucracy of the DNC, we have a gender balance rule at the DNC because, of course, we do.
Equal
And
Okay.
And
See, right away.
See, you drank her
By the way,
tea.
the Republican Party does too. If the chair is a male, then the vice chair has to be a female.
Well, what's interesting is that's even more progressive than our vision, which is that the chair doesn't count towards the gender balance rule that we have. Frankly, I don't even know if it makes sense for us to have the gender balance rule anymore in this day and age because I want to focus on whoever's just best at the job.
Great.
At this point, that's my own view.
Terrific.
And, you know,
by the way, I support what you're doing with respect to
The primaries, because I can tell you, having been in politics for quite a while, I started as an intern for McCain, some of these people don't know when it's time to go.
They don't.
Chuck Schumer has been in elected office for 50 years. 1974, he was first elected. 50 years. AOC will absolutely kick his ass in a primary. She is the leader of the Democratic Party in this moment and will continue to be, I think, the biggest driver of where the party goes from a governmental policy standpoint. And that drives many of my colleagues crazy. But the fact is, she has tapped into the base of support within the Democratic Party. You see the juxtaposition between her and Chuck Schumer. I'm writing a strongly worded letter.
Oh, sit the fuck down, Chuck. It's time.
That's why you won.
in that district that you, that's why you won.
Purple as they come.
Well, right. Because the people, they didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, but they're not out there on the far left either.
No.
Right?
They want balance. They want common sense. They want people who are serious about getting the job done. For my district, my biggest issue, lifting the cap on salt and providing real tax relief to people, protecting critical services like Medicaid. And we're going through this debate, and I'm fighting with leadership, and I'm fighting with the administration to make sure we don't gut these vital programs. That's what people want. They just want you to do the damn job and go home.
And get out the way. Get out the way.
All right. What is it?
I think there's one thing I wanted to talk about too, which is a little bit of what you just talked about, which is there have been a few members that have come out that have said, well, if I retire, my life is effectively over. And what I would say is get over yourself. This isn't about you.
Exactly.
This is about our country, and it's about your constituents. Nobody is I don't care if you've been there for decades or just one term. That seat is not yours. It is your constituents. That is who you're there to serve. And if they choose to serve somebody else, so be it. That's all we're trying to do with Leaders We Deserve is give people the option to vote for somebody that isn't necessarily the same person. That's been there
And
forever.
Bill, let me applaud one thing. I'm glad that David is at the table. I've been at the table a long time, and I love being at the table because it took me a hell of a long time to get in and to get a seat. And once I got a seat and got my folding chair, I was ready. I was set. And there comes a day when you can't stir every pot.
Yeah, and that day was 10 years ago, Donna. This is what happens when career politicians want credit for passing the torch while refusing to let go of it. You don't get to sit at the table for 40 years and act like the mentor when you're still blocking the door for the next generation. Props to David for throwing rocks at the DNC glass house. He actually sounds like he wants to change, not just a longer seat at the table.
And you're going to have to get the out. And I'm glad that David is throwing a rock inside the party. All I would like to advise David is my 25-year-old March on Washington King holiday, free Nelson Mandela self. Call me what the hell you please, but I know what I did when I was his age. I wanted to have a role in American politics. I want to care about my country. I want to love my country, and I want to give back what my country gave to me. And if David takes that spirit on the DNC, I'll vote for his ass again.
Let's leave it there. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate you. It's the same.